Welcome to the Get Offset podcast. My name is Andrew.
And my name is Emily.
And I don't know why that came out so quiet.
It did come out real quiet.
Like
I was like, I didn't feel like you were that quiet like when we were talking like pre-show chit chat.
No, like I took a deep breath. I'm like, all right, I got this. And it's just like, oh.
I don't got this.
It's like I had a compressor lodged into my throat saying, no.
Limiter.
What's up?
What is up? What is good? The Bengals won again yesterday.
I think they might be who I want to see win the Super Bowl. I am disappointed though. Watching the Packers get knocked out, I wanted to make it one more week just so we could see Aaron Rodgers lose one more NFC championship. I mean, that would just icing on the cake for me.
Oh man, the jokes, so many jokes. Like I saw one tweet that said, we all thought Aaron Rodgers had a shot, but we've thought that before.
Yeah.
That was my favorite.
That's pretty good.
That was pretty good. I mean, it says a lot when people in Seattle who just traditionally like hate the Niners are like, we want the 49ers to win.
It's like, I would hate to see them win.
Yeah,
I just want to see the Bucs lose today. That's at this point, all I care about in the NFL is who do I want to see lose, and Bucs is the only team I've got left. Outside
of Tom Brady,
because of Tom Brady.
Oh, then I would also like to see them lose.
Yep.
Yeah. I want to just save some wins for the other teams.
Yep.
Save some rings for the other people.
I do not like it, and nor do I wish to put a ring on it. We'll put it that way.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. I honestly haven't been watching or just kind of checking updates, going, "Oh, cool," and that's about it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, that yesterday's game was interesting because it was tied until like the last like 20 seconds or something. The Beatles. Oh, the Bengals intercepted a football, and then they kicked it, and I just like tweeted like as they were getting ready to kick it, I'm like, I don't feel good about this, and then I tweeted after they kicked it, I'm like, I feel better about it now.
I have a bad feeling about this.
Listen, I grew up a Bengals fan. I grew up in Cincinnati. My Bengals. Come on, God, my parents were Bengals season ticket holders, and I would maybe go to a game a year, and they were just so bad my entire time growing up.
Yep.
So,
didn't they have they've had single win seasons recently too?
I don't know about recently. Like in my lifetime, I feel like probably, but
well,
I think that there were years that they only beat the Browns probably.
As a fan of another franchise that is well acquainted with heartbreak, I sincerely wish the Bengals the best because it's nice to see when the underdogs get a good run at it.
Yeah, they don't want to be called underdogs, but just traditionally, haven't been there. Nice. You love to see. You just nobody likes dynasties, I think is the thing.
Except the fans of that dynasty.
Man, even then, it's like it's boring. It's got to be boring. Listen, Ohio State's always been like a good football team, and it's easy to take that for granted, but they don't win every single championship.
Yeah.
God.
Well, anyways, heads up to the listeners, we have rebranded as an NFL podcast.
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry. That sucked for people. I'm sorry. I apologize profusely.
Sports ball. No, it's fine. The Bengals haven't.
Now we're going to talk about brisket, aren't we?
Oh, yeah. I should probably start that at some point today.
You haven't started it yet?
No, but it's only like 3 pounds. It's tiny. It'll take like 6 hours.
Okay. That's what I always tell myself when I start a pork. And then when I'm like, it's only going to take 6 hours, it takes 9. And then when I'm like, Oh, I better save a lot of time for it. It takes 6.
Well, I mean, I'm not in a huge rush, and I'm gonna have the place myself for the night, so I'm just gonna be chilling. Got a I got an online date tonight to play Age of Empires with a buddy, and when the brisket's done, the brisket's done.
Nice.
Yep. But Melissa is out of town
Hmm?
on a business trip, and
Business.
kiddo is gonna go spend the night with the in-laws because that's
Fun.
what they want to do, and they're excited about it. And so I'm like, wait, that means I've I don't think I've ever had like the place to myself in this house ever. Like not once. Not even a little bit. Like maybe like for an hour when I get home from work before everybody else gets home. But yeah, it's I'm looking
I'm
forward
gonna
to
be
it.
like Tom Cruise in Risky Business. Play the Bob
Don't get
Seger.
me wrong, I like my family, but
Yeah. But like alone time where you're just like being loud or whatever is very fun. Very
yeah, I'm gonna play
freeing.
some loud music. I'm gonna cook my own food. I'm gonna play video games and slob out. I'm gonna maybe run the dishwasher night if I feel like it, but if I don't, I'm not going to. That's some rebellious shit right there.
That's pretty rebellious.
Yep.
Speaking of loud music,
Yeah, what's
I
up?
was playing this new Death by Audio Germanium
Yes.
filter through the Benson. Woo! That's hot. It's very vintagey tones. I really loved it. The Germanium filter by Death by
I
Audio.
forget where I saw the line, but I maybe like it's guitar.com maybe, but someone penned that it was like a love affair, like an ode to putting a pencil in your speaker.
I think that's from the product copy.
Is it? Okay.
I think Aaron wrote that. Yeah.
I thought that was pretty good. I'm like, oh, I can hear.
Love letter to sticking your pencil in a speaker, I
Yep.
think it says. Also, I think I put it in my video description.
That might be where I saw it as well. I don't know. I
It
remember
was good
saying it, and
copy.
yeah, that sticks with me, pun intended.
Sticks with you like that little piece of pencil lead forever jammed into your finger.
Yeah. Look,
Dang, there it is.
not,
I actually don't have it. I don't have that.
I'm just kidding. It's a mole.
Oh,
But on this camera, it looked a little bit.
it did look exactly like a piece of graphite just stuck in your hand forever and ever.
Most people don't have molds like on their palms, so I suppose that's. And I didn't always have that. Like that developed in the last few years, but it's fine. I've had a doctor look at it.
Yeah, I just have a bunch of cat scratches all over
Aw,
my hands.
Princess
I
Carrie
was watching
Fisher.
the demo and I'm like turning the knobs and like the cat scratches are all like very visible because they're fresher. I'm like,
What did
damn.
you do to deserve those?
I was just playing. We played Hand Monster where like, the claw kind of.
Mm-hmm.
She has fun. It's okay. She doesn't mean to hurt.
Not right.
It's okay.
I need to make sure to include playing with Poppy this afternoon.
I also got this from Rocket Music.
Aww.
It's one of their pick holders.
It's a Pickysaurus.
It's a guitar Pickosaurus. Ooh.
Yeah, that is pretty adorable, not gonna lie.
Pretty cute.
My kid would love that.
I like the color.
I do too.
Let me put it back over there.
It's certainly a lot more aesthetically appealing than, say, Altoids tin.
A little bit. I have a little for the picks that aren't gonna fit in there. I have a little dish. Also have some screws in that dish because screws get loose and all that.
I feel it.
It's from a Those Darlin' song. Beep, guitar
I'm trying to think. Do I
picks.
have? Oh, here it is.
Your Altoids 10 of picks.
My Altoids tin of picks. Shout out to Jason Weiser. He
Oh yeah.
sent me some of those wooden picks he made a while ago. And I broke those out for a session yesterday, and
Oh, nice. Yeah,
it
I got
sounded
some of those
good.
right here.
I think I set mine out. Well, I set it down somewhere. It's in here.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, there it is. It's on the couch.
Yeah, Andrew had a recording session
I
yesterday.
did. Yep. We
Yeah, finally recording that patreon.com stretch goal wiggles cover. If you want to support us on Patreon, we're at patreon.com/get offset. And if you subscribe at the $5 level or above, you get access to our exclusive Discord server.
and access to what will hopefully be a finished song here soon.
Yeah, I heard some clips on Instagram.
Yep. uh, there is work to be done.
There's
But
there's always work to be done, you know.
right,
Perfection is the
there's a difference
enemy.
between perfectionism and this isn't at all what we were going for, but we were having fun and just toying around with songwriting ideas that it just kind of came together differently than what we had hoped for originally.
Songwriting, arranging, the
Producing.
wiggles, producing,
Yep.
production ideas, you know, making sure that your guitars have that clarity, but also that crunch,
Yep.
that stereo, getting the stereo fields right, but keeping the guitars in phase. I'm just saying words.
It was a good time.
Yeah.
That's what I got.
Yeah, that's all. It's recording can be really fun. It can also be really boring.
It can also be really frustrating.
Yeah.
But,
I was watching TikTok the other day and some guy that I went to college with just dropped into my feed.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember him because he was in a band that my then boyfriend was producing, like recording.
Yeah.
And the guy was making a TikTok and he's like, I have a cold right now, but I remember when I was in college, I was in a band and I had a cold like this, and we went to record some vocals, and it was actually a lot easier to record the vocals when I had the cold versus when I like didn't have a cold. And I remember thinking, I was a bad singer too, so I was hard. I was equally hard for this guy to pull vocal takes out of, my ex. But I remember him talking about how hard it was to pull vocal takes out of this guy on TikTok, and I actually do remember that story about like how when this guy had a cold, it was so much like it was better.
I mean, maybe
But I
if you're
remember
going for the
these stories.
Morrissey sound, but
No, I don't know what it was, but I think it's like maybe he was, you know, sometimes like there's over singing is very much a thing.
yeah.
And when you think about Al Green, like kind of style vocals,
Mm-hmm.
like when Al Green, the first time he went into a studio, he was really trying to like, you know, sing, like over sing it. And then like was getting so frustrated with the producer going, like sitting him back in, like, you're doing too much, you're doing too much, you're doing too
Mm-hmm.
much. He finally went in and just did kind of like a very, very laid back take, and like almost to spite the producer, like, screw you, man, I just won't do anything this time. And the producer loved it. So
Like, that's
I mean,
it.
there
That's the
can be
money
a lot
take.
of
Let's
things.
go.
Yeah, there can be a lot of things that can make somebody do better or worse. And sometimes like being sick can add like a gravelly quality to your voice, or can mellow it out.
I mean, that's what
For
we had
someone who's
whiskey
like,
for.
yeah, well, like there are always interesting kind of things in production.
Yep.
Tricks, or like things that you don't kind of expect. And like sometimes having a cold will do it. And then sometimes you hear things and takes and you're like, oh my god, what was that? Like what Jewel will talk about when she was recording Who Will Save Your Soul. She's like, I think I was nervous, she says, because, you know, it was such a bit high stakes. But when she would go, who will save? She's like, the back of my throat closed up and I sound like Kermit the Frog. And she just hates it. Who will save? and she's right.
Oopsie.
save your soul.
Sure.
Yeah. So I don't know. Maybe something was going on.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
No,
And then you have a cold, your voice is lower anyway, so that could have helped too.
right. But you can also just record first thing in the morning. I know when I'm like first thing in the morning, I roll out of bed, it just like full on like Shaq voice for like 5 minutes until my. Then after I've like brushed my teeth and all that, I'm like, oh, now I sound normal. But
That's called not warmed up.
yep.
La 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 la.
Right. If I've
I had to do I remember when I auditioned for NYU, I had to send them a tape of me singing Happy Birthday. And that song is a lot harder to sing well
mhm.
than you would think. It's a full octave. Da, 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 da,
Oh yeah,
da, da, da.
because I didn't consider that part.
Yeah. So you're like, I gotta pick a key for Happy Birthday.
Yeah, my
And
vocal range is like this. So uh,
now it's like I mean I took vocal training to get as mediocre as I am at singing. Like I took classes, I paid for lessons in college, and now I'm just a bad singer and not the worst singer. It takes a lot more work for me. People be like, "Can you sing harmonies?" I'll be like, "Yeah, but I really have to practice them, and I
yep.
really don't like
Yeah, I'm not
practice."
ad libbing a harmony. I have to sit down, like hit it on the piano, and figure out what the line is. Listen to it a couple of
Oh
times,
yeah.
and then maybe also have that in my ears while I'm going for it.
Someone has to tell me what it is, and I have to like find the note before the song.
Yep.
Like, okay, you have to tell me what it is. I have to whoop, figure it out. Hit that. Get a guitar. Hit the hey, hey,
See,
hey,
so my problem
hey.
is, yeah, sometimes I start to think, like maybe I'm not as bad of a singer as I thought, and like maybe like I'm singing while I'm in the car driving around, like just really getting into it. And then I'll get like a text message on my phone, the audio will duck, and I'm actually hearing myself. I'm like, oh my god, is that what I sound like?
Oh my god, you don't edit your like I edit my voice multiple times a week because I just hear it all the time. So I hear my talking voice and I know exactly what my singing voice sounds like. I made myself get used to my singing voice in high school. I plugged in like my microphone to an interface and made myself get used to what my voice sounded like. Cause like it was awful. It was horrible. But now like I hear my voice and I'm just like, yep, there it is.
I'm slowly getting there with my voice, but I mean, for years, the only reason why I'd open my mouth in any sort of musical context is if there was literally nobody else to help lead worship at church. I'm like, all right, Jesus, I really hope you're okay with this, man.
Yeah. I mean,
Forgive me, because
I
I do
released
not know what I'm doing.
I released an EP where I sing on it and I like it. And there are a lot of people out there who aren't great singers who are singers. Like
Yep.
Willie Nelson, not a great singer, but he always wrote songs or released songs that were well within his vocal range
Sure.
and were written around his voice. So I tried to do, a similar thing and I liked the results. I liked them just fine. So, like understanding your own limitations if you're a songwriter who maybe doesn't have the most powerful voice, not a bad thing. I remember being in like the 7th grade and I had a teacher who just did not like Michelle Branch. She was like, "How can someone be a singer-songwriter if they can't sing?" I'm like, "Well, the songwriter part must be doing some of the heavy lifting there, but also
Sure.
like what's wrong with her singing? Like she's not like Whitney Houston, but like
Wait
she's
till you
singing
hear
her
what her take is
songs."
on Bjork.
Oh my god. I'm sure she loved Bjork. Um but it was kind of like that sucked to hear because I was sitting there knowing that I wasn't a very good singer,
Right.
but I kind of wanted to be a singer songwriter, and I was like Michelle Branch, not the best singer, but a pretty good songwriter, and then to hear that's hard,
Sure.
But I think people should be careful what they say around children, because to quote Stephen Sondheim, children will listen.
Yeah. They do that indeed, and it's frightening.
Yeah.
Very frightening.
Oh my god, and they're smarter than you think they are.
Also, frightening. Yep.
Oh my god. And one of our someone on Instagram that I just got a hacked message from Instagram. Like, not we didn't get hacked, but someone else certainly did.
They're like,
Crypto.
I tripled my net worth overnight using this quick trick. Click on this.
Did you see that one?
No, I didn't. I can pull it up though.
Thank you for not.
Want me to...
Thank you for not clicking on that.
Yeah, I would hope after. I mean, no, maybe I won't jinx myself here, but I would hope I wouldn't do that.
After what, Andrew?
Years of working in IT, I would like to think that I'm aware of a phishing attack when I see one.
I thought you were going to say after a personal experience.
No, it's one of those things where like I'm the person in the building that should know not to click on it.
Yeah.
Which would, if I were to ever do it, would just make it that much more embarrassing. Like that,
yeah. Everyone, gets scammed sometimes. Once I lost some money in Coney Island from a game, like one of those games that they set up on the pier.
Yep.
Wasn't really my fault. It was the other guy who was choking. He was choking. I really wonder. I still wonder how that game was rigged, but it definitely was rigged.
Yep. There's always a way, and it's never obvious.
Yeah. I've never taken the time to look it up. I just want some mystery in my life still.
Yep. Mystery's fun sometimes.
I maybe lost $60.
Well.
Oh well.
I went through a phase where I was like, I'm going to learn some basic magic tricks. And I know a couple like basic card tricks are just fun to break out at a party every once in a while, but I don't really practice them. So I inevitably botch it. But when I started realizing how some of that gets done, like bottom dealing and stuff like that, I'm like, oh, that ruins so much fun of like watching anybody do card tricks like ever again. Cause I'm like, wait, I see what you did there. Yeah. And even if it's just like very slightly, I started to pick up on like some of the what's going on. I'm like, oh my goodness, this ruins so much of the match. Like I don't enjoy it.
Yeah, I do believe that there are things in life where you should try to maintain the mystery of it a little bit if you enjoy it.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's why Melissa doesn't watch behind the scenes for movies.
Yeah, I don't want to get too deep into the well of how movie magic is achieved.
And I'm just fascinated by that. I'm pretty okay with that one being ruined for me.
No. But... yeah. I mean, music's already ruined for me. By necessity. Oh my god. Oh my god, let me stretch. I gotta stretch. Great job. Big stretch.
Big stretches. So this is an interesting thought here. So I had my buddy over yesterday and we were tracking stuff and it was a good time, but I don't think he like in the nicest way possible. I don't think he entirely understood the sound I was going for.
That's why you have to hire a producer who's familiar with your genre.
Well, I did because I'm not hiring anybody. I was just having a buddy over. And I mean, he's got his degree in recording engineering. I'm like, we could probably figure it out, right? And he's like, all right, I got a couple drum loops we could pull from. I'm like, yeah, we're gonna go over for some metal stuff. By the time we were done, it just sounded like The Clash. Met metalcore in a very strange way. It was like it was kind of fun, but it was like it was a little too slow. The drums didn't sound right at all, and uh, for some reason, probably because he's British, my vocals came out sounding very British as well.
Yeah, your vocals sounded really British. Is that just how you sing?
What?
Is that just how you sing?
No, he's like, yeah, I need you to be angstier. Like, so he was like trying to like coach you through, make it because I sounded like super nasally and probably very metalcore, honestly. When the first couple of takes, he's like, no, I need more angst. And I think in his mind, he's thinking like Metallica metal. Uh, and I was like, so as I started getting angstier, it sounded more British. And we listened to the final take, and he did a track to double up, and we were listening to the two tracks. He's like, we just panned at the 2 years. Which one sounds more British? Like, how do I sound more British than you? He sounded more American. So
It's because like Americans learn to sing from Brits for some reason, and Brits learn to sing from Americans for some reason. It's like, have you ever listened to Bob Pollard sing from Guided by Voices? Like, how that guy's from Dayton, Ohio. He's got the most hilljack accent when he talks, and then he sings like a British person talks. Like, good lord.
I mean, I definitely have pulled from British accent just for vowel enunciation for singing because otherwise I can sound really terrible. But it just came through so strong that I mean, we got done, we listened to it, and we had an absolute blast. It was we were just like grabbing stuff and like, oh, what about this? And it was just I'd call that more of a songwriting session more than a recording session than anything. But yeah, it was. But like I got down, I'm like we're gonna end up scrapping absolutely every last track. And there's not a single thing we tracked yesterday we're gonna end up keeping.
Oh man.
It was all too slow. Like maybe if I want to take the time to quantize the vocals and speed it up to the tempo I'm looking for.
But don't no.
But yeah,
Don't do that. That's so weird.
it probably
Don't do that.
it probably
You
sounds
should.
funky.
Did you give him any reference tracks?
Yeah, like halfway through, it was like I tried to
Oh
be
well,
like,
no,
so
you
this
need to
is kind
finish
of
with
what I'm
that.
thinking sound wise. And he's like, oh yeah, I'm not gonna have any drum tracks for that, mate.
Yeah, the thing is, you got to start with reference tracks. You got to start with reference tracks, both from just like an idea of like the vibe, the energy, like the genre, especially if it's something that the person might not be like super familiar with. And then like all the way through like the mastering process. Like, oh, here's kind of what I want it to sound like at the very end. Like that's kind of the first thing you should do when starting with a producer.
Yep. Like,
After you pick
or
one.
even just like the description. So I could have been like, the year's 2007. It's 1 p.m. You just woke up hungover and cracked a Red Bull and head downstairs to the basement. What do you write? And
That's different for everybody, dude. That's different for everybody. I would have written some folky, sad shit in 2007 at 1 p.m. after cracking a Red Bull.
yeah, I probably would have just played Nirvana over and over again in 2007. But 2007 is about shortly after I started learning drums, let alone guitar. So
Well, I was 18 in 2007.
I was in middle school.
I was senior year of high school, freshman year of college.
Yep. So
Oh my god.
I should have started with reference tracks, and I want to reiterate, I'm not being mean here. We had a great time, and he brought some tasty whiskey. But yeah, no, it was just strange. It was, as I was thinking about it after the fact, I was like, you can't always hire a producer that fits your exact genre, especially if you're breaking some genre boundaries. And so my thought process continued to iterate into, okay, so what are best practices? Like, what does it look like to work with someone cross genre boundaries to communicate that? I think reference tracks is fair, but what if there's not a perfect reference track for you?
I think you just need to have the vocabulary. That's like kind of the first thing after having a reference track. And vocabulary takes years to build and is so important. obviously I watch a lot of TikTok these days, but sometimes I'll see a TikTok and it'll be like a customer service TikTok, and the reason the customer is upset is because they ordered um a cappuccino and they're mad that it has foam on it. And
Yep.
what the person figures out is that they wanted a latte
Yep.
and they just thought it was called a cappuccino. So like there's that like absolute breakdown at the beginning where someone just has no idea, like because they just don't have the vocabulary. So like understanding some terms, some basic production terms, some genre specific terms, like knowing what chug is.
Yep.
If it's important, making sure that whatever producer you work with, even if they're not like in that genre, like understands the words associated with it and can like pick out examples.
Right.
Because yeah, you know, you're not always going to be able to hire a producer, period, but you're also not going to be able to always hire a producer who's like strictly in line with what you want.
Yep.
But you know, you want to work with a producer who's probably already making music that you like and think is good,
Mm-hmm.
interesting, or you know, lets the band do what they want to do. Like that's why people always liked working with Steve Albini, was because, and you know, whatever you want to say about Steve Albini, some people like him, some people don't like his work. Um, he didn't get in the way of the band. Um,
Sure.
he would give his opinion if he was asked, but he wasn't trying to be first and foremost a producer. He was trying to be first and foremost an engineer. And so it just kind of depends. Like, are you going into a session with a really firm idea of what you want to come out of it? Or are you going into a session wanting somebody there to guide you?
Or somewhere in between. Um, yeah,
Yeah.
you might have 90% of the thing is like, hey, let's lay down 90% of the track. And if I can just get some input on like the last little, maybe we need to add an insert here or add a part there, and that'll be about it. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
I communication, I think, is really important. Uh, Setting expectations for sure, especially when you're dealing with like your creative art. It's very personal, and so to collaborate with somebody else, especially if they weren't part of the original writing processes, you're bringing them into it, but how much?
Yeah. Because it can be a lot. I mean, there's a reason a lot of producers get writing credits on songs in specific genres, especially
Mhm.
because they're so instrumental in taking it
Pun
from
intended.
very little to nothing to being what it becomes.
Right.
Um, it just kind of depends. But yeah, there is always an in between there. I think you know, a lot of artists in the studio make more production choices than they realize that they do. Um, but I don't know. I have not produced anything other than the things I make in my this space.
Well, I'll have to. He sent me a link to. He put the whole session in a Dropbox folder, so I need to fire up my Hackintosh and download. And since he was using Logic, I can just download the
Mm,
whole Logic session
yeah.
uh, and give give it a go and see what I can't do to riff on top of that. I think the one thing, the way that I want to do this, I think I'm realistically going to have to track out the drum track by sitting at the keyboard. Yeah, it's gonna be one of those.
Yeah, maybe. You might.
Yep.
I think a lot of people do that.
Yep.
I mean, sample drums are real drums.
Yep. No, no, I don't have anything against it. It's just one of those like I want to sit behind a drum set and do it myself, but I don't have a drum set with like a double kick setup and everything optimized.
Yeah, that's fair. Just that kid electric set you got from the
Yep, I've got the set for the kid, and I've set it up where it's so crammed in, where like I don't need, like I can't even get my foot on the hi hat, so I'm just playing open hi hat when I go in there. I'm like elbows at the side. Not doing blast beats like da, 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 da. You look
No,
like a T-Rex
no,
doing that.
no, no, no. And I remember when I was doing my EP, I had to make like a lot of like vetoes more than anything when I was um, working with a producer. He wanted to like really drench my vocals in reverb, a la like Jim James from My Morning Jacket. Like, and he kept doing this, and I kept saying, absolutely not. And it was just such a battle. And finally, he took off like the wall of plate reverb or whatever.
Mhm.
And he was like, what the fuck was I thinking? Yeah, that sounds a lot better. I'm like, I know,
It's
because I
drowning.
don't
Throw a
have.
life jacket.
It's like, it's one thing if you have a voice that's like a clear glass of water, but like, I don't think it suited my voice. And I don't think
Sure.
it suited my music. And I don't really like the sound of like Jim James vocals, like particularly.
I mean, there's a place for everything. I mean, if it's not
Not in my music.
sure,
Yeah. Like I love Nico Case's vocals and those have a good bit of plate reverb on them, but she's got like a voice like a clear glass of water.
so it just
I
works.
just I Yeah, I just think it works. Like if you have a really pure beautiful voice that's like perfect almost, and then I think it works a little bit better. But like, I mean, that ain't me. It just didn't work for what I was doing. And I think he probably knew that I like Nico Case and like a lot of bands that do have reverb saturation, and thought I might like that. But man, I hated it. It sounded so weird, bad, unnatural. So I was really glad that I won that battle.
That's good
I'm
communication.
gonna Yeah, standing your ground. And the thing is, like, what really bothered me about like the battle I had to go through to even get him was the battle I had to go through to even get him to
Sure.
try it. Because when you're doing songwriting and when you're doing production, you don't shit on ideas.
Yeah.
You try everything and then you see what sounds better, because even if you can't like visualize it in your brain, maybe the transition will be really cool once you hear it played out, or once you figure maybe those two parts will go together once you hear them,
Yep.
once you figure out a transition between
Right,
them.
and that's the beauty of digital recording studios. You can iterate endlessly and put
Yeah, and
together
that's the
just
kind of
a
the cool thing
long
about
list of different
plugins.
takes and just mute,
Yeah.
mute, mute. And let's try this combination. Unmute, unmute, mute, mute.
Yeah, and that's a cool thing about like plugins. That's a great thing about DAWs,
Yep.
especially when we were doing the we did a Sunday Crush did a cover of a Santa Gold song for a compilation that was released on Bandcamp and got some press and like Brooklyn Vegan and shit. Um, and uh, I like was working with Isaac, our bassist, to mix that. And that was fun. That was really fun because I guess I was part of the production for that, because I did all the guitar stuff, um, and um, collaborated with Isaac on some of the mixing ideas. And I guess I also did some of the synth stuff in that via guitar. And just talking with them about like, oh, I did this. Let's hard pan these two tracks with the Enzo, because I played it up an octave. Let's hard pan that left. Let's do the lower octave hard pan right. Let's and like kind of things like that. And those are production decisions. And I thought that was really fun.
Sure.
So that was a whole thing. And then trying to decide like the arrangement for that. Like, do we want to just go, because we could have either, I don't know if you know that song, but it goes da 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 da. It's very rigid.
Hmm.
So we like making a decision as a band, like how do we want to arrange this? Do we want to keep that rigidity, or do we want to try to like find a groove and get it into a pocket? And I think I'm glad we went with the former and like kind of kept that
Yeah, yeah,
rigidity.
yeah.
It keeps it moving forward. It was fun.
Well, coolest of beans.
That's what I've got. That's what I've got to contribute to production related decisions in my life.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I'm looking around. I think what I've got to contribute at this point is Lambertone's grinders sound great. That's what we were using to track the chugga chugga stuff, and
Nice.
not explicitly what those are intended for, but it sounded super. I was tracking Lambertone grinders in my Ibanez through the Mandarin 80, so the orange copy, through with a 4x10 cab on the
Nice.
Podgo, and just straight into the Focusrite. And yeah,
Nice.
it sounded. I mean, it's not the best amp tone I've ever heard, but by the time it got into the mix, it sounded good enough. I'll take it.
Yeah, I'm sure there's some things you can do to make it sound even better. But because
I didn't
that's
tweak
another
the EQ
thing.
or anything. It was just straight up, just whatever the preset was, plug and play. We're just looking to write.
Yeah. That's the thing that people like talk about, like, oh, oh, it doesn't sound like as good like on its own. I'm like, yeah, but when you put in a mix, do you think you can tell the
No.
difference? Because you sure as shit can't tell the difference between a real kick drum and a fake kick drum. Because guess what? I don't think there's a pop song that's used a mic kick drum in like 30 years.
And if they are, it's because they're using a sample from an old recording.
No, yeah, exactly. That's exactly it. Yeah, it's like it's a sample, or because they're like drums are so hard to mic.
Yep.
So just use a sample. Like it's just you spend an hour and a half setting up mics on a drum kit set, and then you end up using a sampled kick anyway. That's just how it is. So usually just
I
save yourself the time. It's so expensive. It's like a studio can be like $300 an hour. Do you really want to spend $450 miking a drum kit?
I'm gonna order me some MIDI cables because
Smart.
the drum kit has MIDI out, and so I can at least
Oh,
track a bunch of it MIDI out, and then just play with different kit sounds from there.
smart.
And if I need to do the since I don't have like a double kick setup, I can always just like program the floor tom and just do that a separate track as the bass drum.
Yeah, you could.
That'd actually probably be really crisp.
Oh yeah.
Boom!
Solutions, modern problems, modern solutions.
Yeah, I'm gonna go order myself some MIDI cables when we're done. My patch
Real
cables still
rock
haven't showed
problems.
up, but I'm excited.
Shipping is slow.
Shipping is slow.
My Harmony amp hasn't shown up either.
Well, those ones are shipping from Canada, so
Oh.
yeah, I'm not too worried about it. When they show up, they show. We'll talk about them more when they get
they're
here.
When they get here, they get here.
Alrighty, well, I'm gonna go order some MIDI cables and maybe think
Smart.
about doing the dishes before I lose all of my motivation to do so as a bachelor for the day. So,
Bachelor for the day.
thanks for listening.
Thanks for watching. Thanks for understanding. Until next time, my name is Emily.
And my name is Andrew.
Goodbye.
See ya.